Hi.
What are you doing?
I am documenting you.
What, am I not blinking?
No, you're blinking. That's good. That's progress. Because, as we know, you usually don't blink when you're playing an intense video game. And your eyes get all watery and we have to stop early.
He's subconscious.
It's a documentary. It's okay. Oh, tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now.
I am updating my skill tree.
What did you choose?
Melee skill. It's called Soldiering On, and it allows Mulan to follow up a long-range attack with a powerful sweeping attack by pressing R2 and then triangle.
And which one is R2 without looking at the controller?
No, I can't do that. It's asking way too much.
Why did you choose Mulan?
She's cool. And she seemed like she'd be fun to play with. And she's one of my favorite movies.
Mulan's one of your favorite Disney movies?
Yeah, one of them.
So, out of all of these other characters that you could be, the characters you have played as, who's your favorite one?
Probably Yoda.
Yoda?
Which isn't in there. He's upstairs. Because he's fun to play with. And he's fast. And I can, like... He has, like, a zoom forward button kind of deal. So that's kind of fun.
So does it matter to you whether you're playing as a girl or a guy in a video game?
No, I usually look more at what their weapon is more than who it is. I don't usually care all that much about whether they're a girl or a guy. What is this thing?
That is a alien symbiote from Spider-Man.
Well, it looks like...
It's part of what Venom is.
Oh, well, it looks like he is a leech, which is gross.
He pretty much is a leech.
Oh my gosh! Make it go away!
It's more of a parasite than a symbiote, honestly.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, when I play like Super Smash Bros, I hardly ever play as a female character. My favorite character is male.
Who's that?
Roy.
Roy?
Mm-hmm.
Sword fighter?
Yeah. And I chose him because he was a sword fighter. Although I will admit, when I first played
He's
the
also
game,
a sword fire.
he's also a sword fighter. It's funny if you get the joke. But the first time I will admit I played that game, I did choose Princess Zelda because she was female and one of the only girl characters that was like in junior high. I was like, she's a girl, I'll choose her. But I ended up hating playing as her because she kept changing into a different character and I kept losing my character. And at the time I didn't know that Zelda became Sheik and life was just all types of confusing.
Look. Gaming at the Edge talks about sexuality and gender at the margins of gaming culture. So it talks about representation and it focuses on video games and how different demographics of people, minority demographics of people, aren't typically super well represented. And one of the things that the author said, and she's quoting other scholars as well in this, is that she thinks that video games are a little bit more limiting in what they can represent than in movies, as far as like different cultures, different types of people. Would you agree with that?
Probably movies have more people who care that to answer to than video games do.
Female characters are more inclined to be designed by and written by males in video games than in movies. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, but I think that they are at least usually going to be more representation of what men like to see in females in video games more so than movies, because
so we're talking like their personalities, their costume, their sexuality.
Yeah.
So when it comes to making money in the business and, okay, well, people like this, we're talking about representing minorities here, or just minority demographics from the stereotype. So how are they ever going to get that money, that vote with their dollar, if there's less of them? It just seems like they're never going to be represented because they are not going to make the company as much money. So do you feel like there's just a moral obligation to these media companies, like in video games, to just make better female characters or homosexual characters, just because they should? Because, I mean, technically they're making tons of money. You mentioned earlier that you didn't know how big the video game industry was compared to films. The video game is the second largest entertainment company in the world, second only to pornography.
But even so, I still feel like video games don't have as much to answer to necessarily as movies do.
One last question. Who would you say that you've seen in video games specifically is the strongest female character that you've seen or played as?
Honestly, one of the first people that came to mind is Impa. She is basically this warrior, and she's female, and I guess just from Zelda in general. She trains Zelda to become this awesome, strong woman as well. And so she was one of my first thoughts. Elena is another character that I would consider a really strong character.
Crash Bandicoot.
Is there a problem?
No, just how do you make it go?
Push the start button.
I knew that.
All right.
I got it.
She doesn't necessarily need she doesn't need a man to save her, but she's not unwilling to accept his help, and I think that shows a lot of strength to know when you need help, but also to stand up on your own and fight your own battles. Which is Impa from what I know as well.